What's up everybody, Couch Mills here, coming at you with a brand new Halo Infinite video, and I finally climbed to ONYX after freaking 12 DCs preventing me from climbing, and I got this in the crossplay mode on mouse and keyboard, and in my opinion, climbing to ONYX is something very easy, especially if you incorporate all these tips and tricks that I have realized while climbing to ONYX. But before we get to that, less than 10% of you are subscribed, so what are you waiting for? Smash that subscribe button to get access to all the guides, news, and content, and you won't miss it about Halo Infinite. But without further ado, let's jump into the video. Now, something that is incredibly important to do in general is take power angles, take ledges, take areas on the map that are kind of open to the big angles on the map so you can pressure out enemies from all different angles. That being said, if you just run out on a ledge, you're gonna eat tons of damage, and this is where the first tip comes in: head glitches. Something that you should be utilizing very often, because remember, headshots don't do more damage until your shield is broken. This means that if you can barely peek out your head hiding your entire body, it's gonna be a lot more difficult for enemies to shoot you than it is for you to shoot them. Now, you can do this in several ways. One, you can crouch behind a slight piece of obstruction and you can barely peek out with your gun. That is a great way to do it, and you can do it on a lot of ledges. Another way is actually back yourself down a stairwell, zoom in, and aim at the ledges from down the stairwell slightly. A perfect example of this is on Bazaar. There's a lot of stairwells that are like this, where you can actually peek enemies only showing them the top of your body, and if they try to challenge you with their full body, it's going to be so easy for you to keep contesting them and deal damage to them, either forcing them off those grounds or just winning the matchup altogether. Now, the next thing that we need to talk about is ego. Now, specifically, as you climb the ranks, you're gonna realize that whether they're controller players or mouse and keyboard players, everyone at a certain rank is going to hit their shots, and you need to respect that. If a player is a lot worse than you, then you can typically just alpha up on them and win even a disadvantaged fight, but that's just not the case when you get to a certain level of player. They're going to consistently dish out damage onto you, and they're going to kill you if you're cracked. They're going to be able to finish you off, and that means that you should take more smart engagements and take advantage fights. If enemies start shooting you first, oftentimes your best case scenario is just to completely disengage, fight these advantage fights instead of trying to win with your mechanics a fight that you're already losing or the enemy gets first tag on you. Take 2v1s, take off angles. Don't just think that you could overcome every enemy with mechanical skill, because it's just not gonna happen past a certain point. Now, the next thing that I see a lot of people talking about that I think is so silly to focus on, and it's statistics. You should really be ignoring every single bit of statistics that you're gathering. Now, I know you can look at your stats by going to Halo Tracker and you can analyze your accuracy and things like that, and people really care about that kind of stuff, but honestly, it doesn't matter at all for multiple reasons. The first thing that you need to understand is if you use any weapon that is not the BR, your accuracy could go completely down. If you're using a lot of different types of weapons, especially spammy based weapons, your accuracy is gonna drop like crazy. Another thing that you need to understand is a valid tactic, which is jiggle spraying or pre-firing. This is a tactic where if enemies keep peeking out and spraying you over and over again in a certain cubby, you can pre-fire that, or you can jiggle out of cover and spray at enemies where you're peeking out very quickly, spraying and peeking back. Your goal here is not to perfectly hit the enemy. Your goal here is to pressure them, spray bullets at them, utilize your magazine, while at the same time minimizing the amount of damage that can be done upon you. Or pre-firing is a sort of prediction that can help you actually get a slight leg up in a poke war where things are close to parity. You're actually going to do slightly more damage to that enemy on the high ground, and then you're going to be winning, forcing them to actually back off unless they want to die. Now, the next thing is incredibly important, and it's something that you need to start doing more and more, and it's tracking abilities, items, and ammo. Specifically, knowing how many rockets are left in the rocket launcher, how many sniper shots are left in that sniper. This is really freaking important to understand, because a lot of times if the enemy has a rocket launcher, part of the strategy is trying to trade with that rocket launcher person, focus that person down, or make them utilize all the rockets. If they can get only one kill and then get traded out, that is amazing with the rocket launcher. But if you allow them to get multiple kills, or you don't understand that they used all their rockets and that you can push them, you're basically leaving a lot of value on the table. Similar to sniper, it is pretty important to know exactly how many sniper shots are in your weapon. Make sure that when you grab that sniper, you know you're utilizing your bullets correctly. And then when you kill an enemy, you also try to track how many shots they used beforehand as you're pushing them, as you're trying to contest them. Also, as a little caveat here, practice with the sniper rifle up against bots in training room. You don't get to actually use the sniper rifle that much in your rounds, right? There's like 3 other players that are on your team. The enemy could grab the sniper rifle too, except on the larger sand map. And in reality, if you just want to get more consistent with the sniper rifle, you just need to use it more. So just go practice it. You can practice it like, you know, for like 30 minutes and you're going to be way more cracked than playing like 4 hours of ranked with it over and over and over again. Also involved in this tip is general awareness about items and abilities that are just laying around the battlefield. So a perfect example of this is me and my duo partner were holding overshield spawn behind it, and there was enemies trying to contest us on the little circular round thing where overshield's on top of it. He jumped up to try to grab it, but it didn't auto grab because he actually grabbed an item on the battlefield earlier, and because of that he like scrambles around and dies on top of overshield. Then I jump up to grab overshield and I grab his item. Yeah, it's just it's like, you know, being hyper aware of things as they appear, what you have on you, how you're going to enact a plan. It's just all very important. Now the next thing that I really need to talk about is communication. So most of the time when climbing, I either soloed or duoed, and every single time I had other teammates that calmed. It was just a free win. Basically every single game, if people wanted to talk in comms and I just communicated back, just called basic things or pinged, it was just enough to win the entire game. Communication is one of the most important things in Halo. Calling people calling people on the flank, calling where a weapon is or what the objective is. This is all stuff that is so simple, but so powerful in a game where the time to kill is high and focus fire is just one of the best things you could be doing. Now, I'm not entirely sure how the system works, if you're more likely to go up against a 4-stack if you are 4-stacking, but I do know that all the times I did 4-stack, the few times I did, it was a completely different game. It felt like very communication oriented, very strategic oriented, rather than the much more puggy frag based nature of solo queue. So I really do think that they're matching stacks with stacks more often than not, but I would have to have some transparency from the developers to know if that's true or not. Now the last thing that we needed to talk about is just the optimized settings, the colors being yellow, high FPS. I did a settings guide that I talked about before, and this was the game changer for me because I probably would have gotten ONYX like forever ago if it wasn't for the fact that I DC'd like at least 3 times a play session, and that's not even joking. I DC'd a freaking lot, and after I improved my settings, I just didn't DC anymore, and I got to actually play the game, and it was great. But honestly, there's quite a few problems with ranked in my mind. I'm probably gonna make a video to really clarify all the problems with it and ways that I think 343 could just fix it super easily. But let me know what other type of videos you want to see down below, and how has your climb been? Have you made it to ONYX? Have you climbed high in ONYX? I'm definitely gonna be making the climb myself pretty soon, so I'll definitely see you around. But smash the like, subscribe if you enjoyed the content. Thank you so much for coming by. Hope you enjoyed the video. I love your faces, and I'll see you next time.